Here, today we are going to discuss the new chapter friction. In our daily life, friction plays a vital role because walking is possible because of friction only. Suppose if friction is not there on the between the floor and the foot, can we able to walk? No. Without friction, we cannot hold the pen. Without friction, we cannot hold the that book. Every object can be held because of friction only. Without friction, we cannot imagine the world. Okay, that's why friction plays a vital role in every walk of our life. Okay, how the friction will exist? How the friction come into act in between two bodies? What is the reason? So we are going to discuss every point. Here you see, suppose here it is the smooth horizontal surface. It is the smooth horizontal surface. Over the smooth horizontal surface, a body having certain mass is kept. Here it is a body having certain mass or a block having certain mass. Okay, now it is the smooth surface. The floor on which the body is kept is perfectly, it is a smooth surface. Okay, now when you give a push like this, when you push the body like this, then automatically here this body will continue to travel along horizontal direction because no force acts on the body along horizontal direction. That's why the body continue to travel along horizontal direction without stop. For example, in between your school and your house, there is no friction on the road. There is no friction on the road. When you sit on the road and just you will be given a small push, automatically if it is there is a straight road between your school and the house, then if you given a small push, immediately you can travel without efforts, without consumption of any fuel for a vehicle, etc. You can reach your destination. But it is not happening because even you feel that that is the smooth surface. On that surface, when you give a push, then the body travel through certain distance and comes to rest. That means there is no perfectly frictionless surface in nature. There is no perfectly frictionless surface. Okay, here suppose on the floor of our building, on the floor of the room, you keep a block and you give a small push on the block. Then the block travels through certain distance and comes to rest. After travel through certain distance, it comes to rest. After travel through certain distance, it comes to rest here. So initially it is pushed with a velocity u, and whenever it reaches the point here, it comes to rest. That means who applies the force on the block? Who applies the force on the block to stop them? Here, who applies the force on the block to stop them? Definitely, there must be some force that opposes the relative motion between the two bodies, because with respect to ground or with respect to floor, the body is in motion. With respect to the floor, the body is in motion. That's why whenever the body is given a velocity u in forward direction, then after travel some distance, as the body comes to rest, means definitely the relative motion between these two bodies is opposed by some force. Such force which opposes the relative motion between the two bodies in contact. This body and floor, both are in contact now. So the force which opposes the relative motion between the two bodies in contact is called the frictional force or simply friction. Here, frictional force or friction opposes the relative motion between the two bodies in contact. Frictional force or friction opposes the relative motion between the two bodies in contact. It does not oppose. We cannot say the friction opposes the motion or opposes the motion. We cannot say directly. Sometimes the friction supports the motion of the body also. We are walking, that means our motion is supported because of friction. Without friction, we cannot walk. Without friction, we cannot walk. Suppose here, one more example I want to say. Suppose here, here this is one block. This is one block that is kept on the smooth floor. Smooth floor. Smooth floor. Okay, here over this another block is kept. It is another block having different masses, say m1 and m2. Here in between these two friction is there. In between these two friction is there. Okay, suppose At initial, just imagine, there is no friction between the two blocks. It is given a push like this. It is given a push like this with certain velocity. That means it is pushed like this with certain velocity. If there is no friction between these two, this block alone move in forward direction. This block alone move in forward direction without changing the velocity until it falls from this lower block. Okay, but at the same time, because of friction between these two, if you give the push in this direction with a velocity u for upper block, then automatically lower block will also move along the forward direction as that of the upper block. No, why we are not pushing this one? When you give a push on the upper block, then it starts motion in this direction, and at the same time the lower block also starts motion along with the upper block in forward direction. Of course, the velocity of lower block may be equal to this one or less than this one. That depends on the different conditions. Of course, we will discuss later. Okay, so here when you give a push here, definitely the lower block also starts motion forward direction. Here suppose whenever this lower block starts their motion, after some time the velocity of this block becomes decreased. After some time, if you see the velocity of the body, this velocity decreases, and at the same time initially it is at rest. Whenever this upper block is pushed with a velocity u, at that time it is at rest. It is not pushed by any force along horizontal direction. Okay, but whenever you push this block in forward direction, automatically this block also starts their motion, and after some time it is having some velocity. That means the lower block acquires some velocity. Due to which reason it acquires some velocity? Definitely in between these two, some friction exists. That friction pulls this lower block in forward direction. That's why friction here, friction between these two blocks in contact, supports the motion of this lower block. Friction between these two blocks supports the motion of this lower block. Suppose after some time, if you see the motion of this block, the velocity of this block decreases. That means friction opposes the motion of this block and supports the motion of this block. That means friction may support or opposes the motion of the block. But always, initially, whenever it is pushed, the lower block is at rest and upper block is in motion. That's why relative velocity of upper block, relative velocity of the upper block with respect to lower block is equal to Vu minus VL. Okay, this is equal to Vu means u minus velocity of the lower block initially is 0. So initial relative velocity is equal to u minus 0. After some time, if you measure the relative velocity between the two blocks, definitely after some time, suppose the velocity of this body is, say, velocity of the upper block is Vu, velocity of the lower block is, say, VL, then this is less than this initial relative velocity between the two blocks. Initial relative velocity between the two blocks is equal to initial velocity of the upper block minus initial velocity of the lower block. Initial velocity of the upper block is u, initial velocity of the lower block is 0 initially. Okay, that's why u is the initial relative velocity between the two blocks. But after some time, you find the velocity of this upper block and velocity of the lower block. Velocity of the upper block is Vu, velocity of the lower block is VL. Then after some time, the relative velocity of the upper block with respect to lower block is equal to relative velocity of the upper block with respect to lower block is equal to Vu minus velocity of the upper block minus velocity of the lower block. If you substitute these values, obviously here it is very clear that this relative velocity is less than this one, because here this indicates this initial relative velocity is this one, final relative velocity is this one. This is less than this initial relative velocity. That means relative velocity is opposed by the friction between these two. No, that means here relative velocity is opposed by the friction that exists between the two bodies. That means friction always opposes the relative motion between the two bodies, or it always opposes the relative velocity between the two bodies in contact. But the friction opposes the motion of the upper body and supports the motion of the lower body, because initial velocity of the lower body is 0 because it is at rest. But after some time it acquires the velocity VL because it also travels in forward direction. So it acquires some velocity. That's why friction supports the motion of this body. And here after some time, when you see the velocity of this upper body, definitely it is less than this u, which is equal to Vu. That Vu less than definitely u. That means the friction opposes the motion of the upper body and supports the motion of the lower body, but always opposes the relative motion between the two bodies. Therefore, friction may oppose or support. Friction may oppose or support the motion of the body. The motion of the body. But always opposes the relative motion between the two bodies. Relative motion between two bodies in contact. Two bodies in contact. It is very, very important point. Here, frictional force may oppose or support, because here on the upper body, in case of upper body, frictional force opposes the motion, lower body it supports the motion. That's why frictional force may oppose or support the motion of the body, but always opposes the relative motion between the two bodies. It is very, very important point. Okay, so friction may oppose or support the motion of the bodies, but always opposes the relative motion between two bodies in contact. Okay, now friction present in the space means that depends on the conditions, how the body moves based on the conditions. Actually, suppose if you keep the body on the horizontal surface, if you keep the body, okay, in case of in space, that means in astronaut, in case of satellite, etc., here there is no resultant force acts on one body on the other. That's why friction does not exist there. If those two bodies put together are just pressed together, in such case friction exists. That means that depends on the condition. In general, there is no normal reaction exerted by lower body and the upper body in case of gravity free space or in satellite. In such cases, whenever there is no normal reaction, there is no friction. You have to remember one thing. You know the normal reaction. Without normal reaction, no friction exists. Without normal reaction, there is no friction that exists. Okay. So here this is the friction. So finally, what is the friction? I said the force which opposes the relative motion between the two bodies. The force which opposes. So what is the friction means? The force which opposes relative motion between the two bodies. Relative motion between two bodies in contact. Relative motion between two bodies in contact is called friction. So it may oppose or support motion of the bodies. Motion of the bodies. Okay. So the force which opposes the relative motion between the two bodies in contact is called the friction. It may oppose or support the motion of the individual body. Motion of the individual body. Okay. So here, how the friction exists between any two bodies in contact? A little bit friction exists. A little bit friction exists. Okay. John William, he asked one doubt. Sir, is there any friction on the surface of ice block? Here, whenever the ice block is kept over the floor, suppose if you see the surface of the ice block, definitely it is having uneven surface, roughly. But whenever you keep the ice block for a while, then a water layer is formed between the ice block and the floor. When water layer is formed, that behaves like a lubricant, and friction between the water layers is less. That's why the friction between the ice block and the floor will reduce. Then ice block will move freely. Okay. Yeah, in between the sea or surface of the water in the sea and the ship, there is a friction. On the surface of the sea, when the ship is floating, when ship is moving, in between the ship and the surface of the water, there is a friction. That friction is called viscous. That friction due to liquid acts on the ship is called the viscous force. That is called viscous force. Not only in case of that one, the friction that exists between any two fluid layers in contact is called the viscous force. That viscous force exists there. Okay, Vanshi Krishna. Okay, right? Now we have to discuss why the friction, how the friction exists between the two bodies in contact. First, we have to discuss that one. Already I said what is friction. Now, how the friction exists between any two bodies in contact. Okay. No, actually, suppose here somebody asked me, in case of ship, how the friction exists due to seawater. That is a question somebody else asked. Suppose here surface of the seawater it is. Okay, here one ship is there over them. One ship is there over the surface of the seawater like this. Seawater like this. Okay. Now, here with the surface, bottom surface of the ship, the water layer is in contact. No. Here, the surface of the water layer is in contact with the bottom of the ship. So when the ship move in upward direction, then the surface of the water layer in contact with the ship is pulled along the direction of the ship. But lower layer of the seawater is there now. That lower layer of the seawater is here, and upper layer is moved along with the ship in forward direction. That's why in between this upper layer of the water and lower layer of the water, there is some friction exists that opposes the motion of the upper layer. In turn, opposes the motion of the ship. Okay. Yeah, everyone, even in case of flight also. Okay, I will go after I said the different examples, so you can ask. Okay, just I said only definition of the friction. Okay, I think Vanshi Krishna, you asked this question. I think you could understand. Okay, even in case of flights, in between the flight and air also, in between flight and air layer also, there is a friction, that is a viscous force. That force is called viscous force. Viscous drag, that can also be called as the viscous drag. Okay, here due to fluid, any friction exists on the body, that is called viscous drag. Okay, in between the aeroplane and air, in between the ship and water, some friction exists, that is called viscous drag or viscous force. Okay, Suhas, right? Dinesh. Yeah, in Dinesh also. Okay, in case of rocket also friction exists. Yeah, I am going to say, Likit, I am going to say how friction exists. Okay, right. Now, here, suppose if you observe the surface of any body keenly or under magnification, suppose if you observe the surface of any body, suppose you see our skin, the skin seems to be very smooth. Under magnification means by means of a microscope, when you see the surface of the skin is not smooth. It is having some irregularities, and that means up and downs like this. Any surface of the body, you see, if you see the any surface of the body, if you see the any surface of the body, okay, if you see the any surface of the body, that surface consists of irregularities. That means, suppose if you see directly with our naked eye, if you see the surface of any body, that seems to be smooth. Suppose if you see the floor, that floor seems to be smooth. The surface seems to be plain. But under magnification, if you see the same surface, that surface consists of some irregularities. That means up and down. Because of that only, we can walk over the surface. If on the surface of the floor, if there are no irregularities, or there are no up and downs, then we cannot walk. We will skid over the surface of the floor. It is not happening like that. Okay, that's why here you see. Suppose if you see the surface of any body, that surface consists of the irregularities or up and downs like this. Irregularities are up and downs like this. Under magnification, suppose if we see the surface of any body, that surface consists of this type of irregularities or up and downs like this. These are called irregularities. Irregularities. Okay, every body, the surface of every body consists of irregularities like this. Even in case of tiles also, it is also not perfectly smooth. Okay, so here over this surface, when you keep a block, that surface of that block is also having irregularities like this only. So over this surface, when you keep a block, as the block consists of irregularities like this, here these are called elevations and these are called depressions. These are elevations because this part is raised. Okay, these elevations, depressions are called irregularities. So every body is having this type of irregularities. Now when you keep one body over this surface, then in that body also on the surface irregularities are there. No, the elevation of upper body settled in the elevation depression of the lower body. Here elevation of the upper body settles in the depression of the lower body like this. In this way the block exists here. So in this way the block exists like this. Whenever you keep the block over the surface of the body, the irregular elevations of the upper body settles in the depressions of the lower body. In this way, here the irregularities, that means this up and downs or elevations are interlocked by means of elevation of the lower block and elevation of the upper block. These two are interlocked because if you want to move the block in this direction, you see the elevation of the lower surface opposes the motion of the elevation of the upper surface, no, because it is just like it is interlocking is there. So elevation of the lower block is opposes the motion of the elevation of the upper block. Similarly here also. In this way, whenever, suppose by applying some force, if you move the body in this direction, in such case the elevation of the upper body distort the elevation of the lower body. That's why the shape of the upper body changes like this. Shape of the elevations of the two bodies like this. That means distortion takes place. That means deformation takes place. The upper elevation becomes like this, lower elevation becomes like this. Similarly for each and every case, then it can move like this in forward direction. But if you do not apply any force, then whenever the block move in forward direction with certain velocity, here while moving like this, while the upper block moving on the floor like this, the elevations of the lower block opposes the motion of the elevations of the upper block, because here they are in contact. No, while this elevation try to move in forward direction, they exert the opposite force in this direction. The elevations of the lower block opposes the motion of the elevation of the upper block like this. In this way, each and every elevation opposes the motion of the upper block. That's why there is the decrease in the relative motion between the upper block body with respect to lower body or lower surface. In this way, friction exists that opposes the motion of this body. I think you could understand why the friction exists between the two bodies in contact from this explanation. I think, are you followed this one? I will explain. Okay, friction here, the largest force exists or the strongest force in nature, already I said, that is the nuclear force of attraction. Because of nuclear force of attraction only, every particle inside the nucleus are bounded together within the nucleus and atom is formed. Composition of the number of atoms is the body. In this way body is formed. So nuclear attractive force is the strongest force in nature. Nuclear attractive force is the strongest force in nature. Okay, so here I am talking about natural forces. Friction is not the natural force here. Based on the nature of the surfaces in contact, friction exists. It is not the natural force. Okay, now you see here, I think you could understand why the friction exists between the two bodies in contact. Means as the elevations of the upper block settle in the depressions of the lower block, which is called as interlocking of irregularities. So causes of friction. First one, interlocking of irregularities. So because of interlocking of irregularities like this, the lower surface opposes the motion of the upper surface. Due to that, relative motion between the two bodies in contact decreases. Hence in this case, the elevations of the lower block opposes the motion of the upper block by reaction force exerted in backward direction, which is called the frictional force. Frictional force is generally represented with a small f. Okay, next. So this is one cause of the friction. Next one, due to deforming of the deforming forces, deforming or deformation, due to deformation of bodies in contact. Deformation of the bodies in contact means, suppose you observe the tire, the surface of the, when you observe the surface of the tire which is in contact with the road, the shape of the tire is flattened, no? The shape of the tire which is in contact with the floor, that is flattened like this, no? Flattened like this means shape of the tire changes. Then we can say deformation is there in the tire. Deformation is there in the tire. Due to this deformation, the upper surface of the tire pushes the road in downward direction. Of course, at the same time, road also depressed. Here, road also depressed to some extent. Okay, because of this deformation, the elevation of the irregularities of the upper body interlocked in the irregularities of the lower surface means road. Due to that also friction exists. Here, because of deformation of the two bodies in contact, some friction exists between the two bodies that opposes the relative motion between the wheel and the road. Okay, or body and the surface on which it is kept. So this is also one of the causes of the friction. So one is interlocking of irregularities, the other one is deformation of the two bodies in contact, like this example. Okay, next one, because of adhesive forces between the two bodies in contact. Adhesive forces between two bodies in contact. Adhesive forces between two bodies in contact means, here whenever one body is kept in contact, whenever one body is kept over the surface of the other body, on the surface of this lower body, atoms or molecules are there, no? On the surface of the upper body also, on the surface of the upper body which is in contact with the lower body. That means, you see, suppose with our naked eye, when you see the block that kept over the surface of the floor, we can see like this only. Because with our naked eye, when you see the surface of the two bodies in contact, we cannot see these irregularities. Under magnification, that means by means of microscope, when you see the two bodies in contact, then we can have that vision about, we can see the irregularities, how they interlocked, etc. Okay. Some surfaces are rough, some surfaces are smooth. Some surfaces are rough, some surfaces are smooth. By using some instruments, we can make the surface smooth also. Okay. No, sir, here the tires are somewhat soft because deformation would be more, that opposes the increases the friction. Due to that, without skid, the vehicle can travel on the roads. Okay. Now you hear adhesive force between the two bodies in contact. Here, this is a plane of, it is the plane of contact of the two bodies. No, on the bottom surface of this upper body, number of atoms or molecules are there. On the upper surface of the lower body, atoms or molecules are there. In between two dissimilar atoms or molecules, suppose the lower body is made of one material, upper body is made of one material. That means here in between the two bodies, whenever these two are put in contact, the atoms of the lower body and atoms or molecules of the lower body and atoms or molecules of the upper body, in between them some force of attraction exists. That means the electrons in the atoms of the upper body attracts the nucleus of the lower body. That means the force of attraction between the two atoms present, the force of attraction present between the two atoms or molecules of the two different bodies here put in contact, that is called adhesive force. That means that is the attractive force. That attractive force between the two bodies in contact also opposes the motion of the relative motion between the two bodies in contact. For example, you take the metal plate. you keep the magnet on the metal plate and you push the magnet in forward direction. Then automatically, while the magnet travel in forward direction, its velocity decreases and immediately comes to rest now. Soonly it comes to rest now. That means in that case also, such type of adhesive forces are there. Similarly, on the surface of the floor, okay, even irregularities are not there. If you push the body, suppose for example, you take the perfectly frictionless surface like even you take the mirror, that mirror is also not perfectly smooth. It seems to be smooth with our hand. When you touch the mirror, the surface of the mirror seems to be very smooth. But under magnification, even you see the surface of the mirror, that is also having some irregularities. But the height of elevations and depths are less. That means irregularities are smaller amount. Suppose if you see the directly a rough body, the irregularities are much more. But in case of mirror, the irregularities are having somewhat lower heights. Elevations are having lower height and depressions are lower depressions. That's why they are not visible to us directly. Okay. So here, if in case of two bodies in contact, the atoms or molecules of one body attracts the atoms or molecules of the other body. That means they are different substances. The force of attraction present between two dissimilar atoms or molecules is called adhesive force. Because of adhesive force between the two bodies in contact, that opposes the relative motion between them. Such adhesive force also act that opposes the motion of the two bodies in contact. Hence, that also acts as the frictional force. So these are the various reasons. This is in this way, these are the various causes of friction. Okay, here the surface of every body is not similar. Suppose when the body goes to other place, at that place the surfaces may not be identical as the initial. Suppose if the same block travel through certain distance, and at that place the irregularities need not be same. We cannot say irregularities are same. So irregularities need not be same. That's why interlocking is not same as this one. If interlocking is not properly like this, the friction will reduce. If interlocking is strong like this, that means the elevations of upper body settled perfectly in the depressions of the lower body, then friction will be more. At other place, the irregularities may not be having this much height. Due to that, interlocking is not proper. In such cases, the friction need not be more at that places. That depends on the nature of the surfaces in contact. Okay. Suppose if you polish the surfaces, when you polish the surfaces means we are making, by polishing the surfaces, we are making the irregularities are there. No, if you polish the same surface, the surface becomes like this. If you moderately polish the surface becomes like this. Irregularities are there, but their heights are less. That's why interlocking will be less. When interlocking is reduced, automatically friction reduces. That's why, because of polishing the surfaces or moderately polishing the surfaces, we are reducing the interlocking. When interlocking is reduced, then the body can move easily over the surface. Suppose if you heavily polish the surfaces so that there are no irregularities, when you heavily polish the surfaces in contact, then you see, suppose it is heavily polished surface. Heavily polished surfaces. Here, two heavily polished surfaces are put in contact like this. As these two are heavily polished surfaces, no irregularities are there. It is perfectly smooth surfaces. Suppose there are no irregularities. In such case, when you keep one body over the other body, there is no interlocking. In this case, the area of contact of the upper body with the lower body will be more. No, area of contact of the upper body with lower body is more, because almost all, if it is perfectly smooth surface, perfectly plain and smooth surface, then definitely the total surface area of this lower surface of the upper block is in contact with the lower surface, the surface of the lower body. Whenever they are perfectly in contact each other, the effective area of contact of the body here is more. When effective area is more, the attraction force between the atoms of the lower body and upper body, which is called the adhesive force, that adhesive force will increase more. That adhesive force increases more. Whenever adhesive force will more, whenever adhesive forces will be more, then the frictional force also more. That's why even you take two perfectly frictional surfaces in contact, sorry, perfectly polished surfaces in contact, in that case frictional force will be more. Suppose you take one glass plate and keep the other glass plate over them. It is difficult to move the one glass plate over the other glass plate because they are somewhat heavily polished. If they are perfectly plain surfaces, if the two glass plates put in contact are perfectly plain surfaces, then we cannot move one glass plate over the other glass plate freely. If they are moving freely means that surface is not plain. You remember that point. If they are perfectly polished plain surfaces, then if you keep one polished, perfectly plain polished surface over the other, we cannot move easily because adhesive forces will be stronger. Adhesive forces will be strong so that opposes the relative motion between these two bodies in contact. Okay, that's why we cannot move. So to test the glass, to test the mirror, is it perfectly plain surface or not? Because if the mirror is not plain, our image cannot be seen clearly. That's why is the mirror is perfectly plain or not. In order to test them, you take one glass piece of the mirror and a small glass piece of the same mirror. You keep one over the other. Then if you cannot move that small glass plate over the big glass plate, then that is plain, that is perfectly plain. Otherwise, if you can move easily, that is not perfectly plain. In this way also we can check. If perfectly plain surfaces are put in contact, in such cases, the effective area of contact is more. Effective area of contact is more means the atoms of the lower surface of upper body and atoms of the surface of the lower body, they are comes very close to each other. They are come in contact. Due to that, adhesive forces become stronger and that opposes the relative motion between the two bodies here. That's why whenever the given surfaces in contact are heavily polished, the friction force increases. That's why to reduce the friction, we have to polish the surfaces moderately. Then only friction will reduce. If you heavily polish the surfaces in contact, friction exists again. Okay. So these are the causes of friction. Now, what are the types of friction we have to discuss? One example for friction we will see. One, while pedaling the bicycle, while pedaling, or engage in case of motorcycle, engaged with engine, comma, on rear wheel. You see, suppose this is the bicycle. Suppose this is the bicycle. Okay, here suppose this is the bicycle. It is moving over the road. The bicycle is moving over the road. That means we are pedaling. While pedaling or engaged with the engine. Engaged with the engine means in case of motorcycle, when you rise, when you give the acceleration, then the speed of the motorcycle increases now, or while pedaling, speed of the bicycle increases now. So while pedaling or engaged with the engine, you see here what happens there. On the rear wheel, it is the rear wheel. It is the rear wheel, backside wheel. Okay, it is the rear wheel. It is the rear wheel. It is the front wheel. It is the front wheel. So on the rear wheel, you see when you pedaling like this, when you start the motion of the bicycle, when you pedaling like this, the point of contact of the rear wheel with with the road, here it is rotating like this. No, when you pedaling the bicycle, then the back wheel rotates, starts rotation like this in clockwise direction. At the time, the point of contact of the rear wheel with floor or with road try to displace in this direction. Try to displace in this direction, isn't it? When you pedaling or engaged with engine, at the time the rear wheel, because of connection of the rear wheel with chain like this, mechanism like this, okay, it is try to rotate like this. When you try to rotate like this, the point of contact of the wheel, the lower point of the wheel in contact with the floor, move in backward direction. Okay, at the same time the bottom surface or road opposes the motion of this point of contact. As the point of contact has velocity or motion in backward direction, definitely the floor opposes the motion of this point of contact and exert the friction on the wheel at this point in this direction. So this is the direction of the friction. It is the direction of the friction on the rear wheel. So while pedaling, the friction on the rear wheel due to ground or due to road acts along the direction of motion of the bicycle only, or along the direction of motion of the motorcycle only whenever it is engaged with the engine. Suppose if you see the front wheel, in case of front wheel, whenever this wheel is rotating like this, then here we see this friction pushes the wheel in forward direction. No? This friction pushes the wheel in forward direction. That's why this wheel starts moving in this direction. When this wheel start moving this direction, the point of contact starts motion in this direction. The point of contact of the wheel with the floor ground starts motion in this direction because it is not pedaling. It is not rotating by means of this wheel, tooth wheel. Okay, here that's why because of this wheel, by pedaling, we starts rotation in the rear wheel. That's why rear wheel starts rotation like this. Due to that, the rear wheel roll over the surface of the floor in this direction. Due to that, this frame pushes this wheel. As the rear wheel is rolling like this, then rear wheel starts motion forward direction by rolling. At the same time, here, as the frame is fixed to the rear wheel, this rear wheel pushes the frame, that pushes the front wheel in forward direction. When here for the front wheel, there is no possibility to rotate. Then this point of contact of this front wheel in contact with the ground, try to move in this direction, try to slide on the floor or on the ground in this direction. At the same time, the friction between these two opposes the motion of this point of contact in forward direction and exert the friction in opposite direction. That's why while pedaling here, while pedaling, the friction on the rear wheel is along the direction of motion of the vehicle, and on the front wheel opposite to the direction of motion of the vehicle while pedaling. While it is the case while pedaling. Okay, so while pedaling or engaged with engine on rear wheel. So while pedaling or engaged with engine, friction on rear wheel is along the direction of motion of vehicle, motion of bicycle or bicycle. And opposite on front wheel. Opposite on front wheel. It is the case of pedaling. When, if it is not pedaling, that means when pedaling, the bicycle acquires some velocity, and whenever it acquires sufficient velocity, then we stop pedaling. Or in case of motorcycle, when it acquires some velocity, then suppose if you switch off the engine, we are not giving acceleration. That means that is disengaged with engine, or the bicycle is not pedaling. In such case, what is the direction of the friction? So here same case, you see. So here, when not pedaling, here just the friction on the rear wheel and front wheel both are opposite to the direction of motion of the bicycle only. Whenever the vehicle is not pedaling, just the point of contact try to move in this direction. When it is not pedaling, then friction opposes the motion of the block in motion of the wheel in backward direction. Here also, whenever it is not pedaling, it does not try to rotate by means of this chain. Okay, that's why this point of contact try to slide over the surface of the road, so that opposes the motion and hence friction acts in backward direction. So when not pedaling on the two wheels of the bicycle, the friction is in opposite direction, or if it is disengaged with engine on the two wheels, the friction is opposite to the direction of the motion of the vehicle. So direction of motion of the vehicle is like this. Okay, so this is the case of the friction between the wheel and the road in case of bicycle or in case of motorcycle. Okay, already, okay, somebody, Suhas asked the question, if highly polished, then the friction is more than initial. Why? Here already I said here, no, when I drawn the diagram here, whenever heavily polished, the surface of the two bodies in contact becomes more plane, less irregularities. Whenever more plane surface is there, area of contact is more. When area of contact is more, adhesive forces will be more. When adhesive forces are more, the friction force will increase. Friction force becomes more. Okay, Suhas. Okay, right. Vanshi Krishna, does ice have? Yeah, ice is also having irregularities. Suppose you take the dry ice. Dry ice means on the surface of the ice there is no water layer. Just when you remove from the defreeze directly, at the instant when you just taken out from the defreeze, if you see the ice block, the surface is not smooth. When you bring out from the defreeze and after some time, water layer is formed over the surface. In such case, that is smooth. Okay, right, Nana. Thank you. Now, so these are the examples. Okay, now here suppose one body is kept over the surface of the other body. One body is kept over the surface of the other body. Okay, and here this is pulled by means of a string. Here the string is passed over the light pulley. The string passed over the light pulley, and here a weight hanger is there. Here a weight hanger is there. Okay, weight hanger is there like this. So here you see, at first no weight is attached to the weight hanger. Here there is no weight. Then even the body does not have any tendency to move also. The body has no tendency to move, because when weight is not attached to the weight hanger, then this string does not pull the body in this direction. This string does not pull the body in this direction. That's why the body will be at rest here only. Okay, now when you keep some weight here, in that case also the body does not start sliding. The body does not start sliding. Suppose you take one block and you keep over the surface of the table. Okay, just by means of rope or by means of a thread or by means of a string, you try to pull them by applying a small amount of force. The book or block does not slide. Suppose here, when a small weight is attached here, whatever the small weight attached, suppose here the weight attached here is say mg, then the tension here, whenever the block does not slide, in such case here this will not come down. When this weight does not comes down here, then the weight suspended here is balanced by the tension of the string, no? Because in the string pulls the weight suspended here in upward direction and weight acts in downward direction. Even then, if there is no motion in the block, then this weight does not slide, comes down. Okay, that's why in that case, the force exerted by the string on the weight suspended in upward direction, which is called tension, that balances the weight. That's why here also, as it is totally the same string, the same tension pulls this block in this direction. Even then, there is no motion initially. There is no motion, because at that time the friction here, why there is no motion here? Even the tension pulls this block with a force equal to mg in this direction, even then there is no motion, means definitely because of interlocking of irregularities of this upper body and lower surface, some friction acts in opposite direction that opposes the motion of this block. That's why it does not start there sliding. Now at this, whenever the block does not slide, even weights are applied here, weights are there here, then in that case the friction is equal to tension. Friction is equal to tension. Okay, the friction exists between the two bodies in contact whenever one body is at rest over the other body. That is called the static friction. That is called the static friction. Okay, so here you see in case of this block, weight mg acts in downward direction and at the same time perpendicular to the plane of contact. Due to lower surface on the upper block, some reaction force acts which is normal to the plane of contact. That's why it is called normal reaction. In this case, along vertical direction on the block there are two forces acts, n upwards and capital mg downwards. Even then, as there is no motion along vertical direction, in this case normal reaction is equal to normal action, n is equal to capital M into z. In this case normal action is equal to mg. Okay, now here whenever a small weight is attached here, at the time the block does not slide. In that case, why the block does not slide means, suppose if there is no friction between these two blocks, whenever there is no friction between the block and the surface, definitely the block would be moved in this direction because of weight is attached. But it is not happening. Here the block does not slide. For example, the block does not slide. You can imagine in general, you keep the block or book on the table and you pull by means of a string or thread. At first, when you apply when you pull the book with small force, it does not slide. That's why here also the block does not slide. In that case, definitely there exists a friction that opposes the motion of the block in forward direction. In this case, on the block along horizontal direction, there are two forces acts. Tension pulls the block in this direction, friction acts in this direction. Even then it does not slide, means this friction is equal to tension. No? So what is the friction exist here? Whenever the friction that exists between the two bodies in contact, whenever the body is at rest over the surface of the other, is called the static friction. Okay, here, so in friction there are different types. Actually, any type of friction, here laws of friction. If you take any type of friction, that friction is directly proportional to normal reaction. Any type of friction that is directly proportional to normal reaction. Suppose if the weight is more, normal action is more. When normal action is more, such body cannot be pulled easily. That means friction exists will be more, because the friction is directly proportional to normal reaction. Okay, or friction is equal to some proportionality constant mu into normal reaction. Friction F is equal to some proportionality constant mu into normal reaction, where the proportionality constant mu is called coefficient of friction. Okay, so coefficient of friction mu can be written as F by N. No? That means frictional force by normal reaction. Frictional force or simply friction. Frictional force or simply friction by normal reaction. Here this mu is called coefficient of friction. So it is the ratio between the frictional force to normal reaction. That is called the coefficient of friction. Friction is nothing but force. Normal reaction is also force. As it is the ratio between the two forces, coefficient of friction has no unit in any system. In a system or CS system, it has no unit. Okay. So here, in case of, okay, here coefficient of friction has no unit and no dimensional formula also. Okay, next. Here, friction exists between any two bodies because of interlocking of the irregularities. Friction exists between any two bodies in contact because of, okay, somebody asked, Vanshi Krishna asked, does banana peel exert friction? The banana peel that exists between your foot and floor reduces the friction. Due to that, we skid over the surface of the banana peel. Okay, banana peel reduces the friction between the floor and your foot. In between the foot and floor, if the banana peel is there, that banana peel is in contact with the floor. That reduces the friction on which our foot is there. That's why as the friction is reduced, then immediately banana along with the banana peel, we to move in forward direction or we skid over the surface of the floor. Okay, no, the surfaces in contact cannot be called as the lubricant. Lubricant means that is one type of oil, liquid. Okay, so by polishing surfaces, we can reduce by moderately polishing the surfaces in contact, we can reduce the friction. By using the lubricants like grease, oil, etc., we can reduce the friction. By using the ball bearings, very good, Tushar. By using the ball bearings, we can reduce the friction. There are different ways to reduce the friction or to minimize the friction. Okay. So coefficient of friction is the ratio between the frictional force to normal reaction. Okay. Here, as it is the ratio between the two similar quantities, coefficient of friction has no SI, no unit in any system, and even it is not having any dimension formula also. Okay. Now, here the friction can be reduced with the help of the lubricants. The friction can be minimized by polishing the surfaces in contact, moderately polishing the surfaces in contact, by applying the lubricants like grease, grease, oil, etc. We can reduce the friction. Okay, friction. There are different kinds of friction are there. There are different kinds of friction. So it is the important law of friction. Friction is directly proportional to normal reaction. Okay, now we'll discuss different types of friction. First one, static friction. Static friction. It is represented with small fs, static friction. Here you see, whenever the block is pulled with a force here, even then the block does not slide, because the friction exists between them opposes the motion of the block in forward direction. But even then the block does not slide. So the frictional force exists between the two bodies in contact. The frictional force exists between the two bodies in contact when one body is at rest over the surface of the other. That is called static friction. Even friction exists between them if the body does not slide over the surface of the other. In such case, the friction exists between the two bodies in contact is called the static friction. Okay, that static friction is also directly proportional to normal reaction, or static friction is also directly proportional to, sorry, here not static friction. Static friction depends on the applied force on the block, because whenever the block does not slide here, you see here on the block in this direction some force is applied, that is equal to tension the string. Even then block does not slide. Block does not slide. In that case, static friction exists here. Whenever the block does not slide here, if the friction that exists between the two bodies in contact when one body at rest over the surface of the other, in that case static friction is equal to applied force only, because in this case net force is zero. No, Fs acts in this direction and F acts in this direction. Even then there is no motion, means the static friction is equal to applied force only. Static friction is equal to applied force or applied tension there. Okay, static friction is equal to applied force only. Applied force. Applied force. Static friction is equal to applied force only. If applied force increases, that means weight increases, then T is equal to weight mg, that increases. When tension increases, in this case, whenever the weight increases, even then the block does not slide. Even weight increases, suppose the block does not slide. When weight increases, even then block does not slide. In that case, tension increases. Even then block does not slide, means the static friction also increases. That's why static friction is equal to applied force. So when you draw the graph, between the any type of friction and applied force, at first, when applied force increases, I am telling about until the block starts motion. Until the block starts motion, up to that case, up to that instant, I am telling about the graph between friction and applied force. When applied force increases, even then the block does not slide. That means static friction also increases, which are both equal to each other. That's why you will get the graph like this, because static applied force and static friction both are equal. That's why you will get the graph with exactly along angular bisector. Okay, here when applied force increases at this place, this applied force and this friction both are equal. Static friction both are equal. Here also, when applied force is F dash, then static friction is also equal to F dash only. That means both are equal. When this value both are equal, if you join all those points, then you will get a straight line with the 45-degree angle. Okay, it is the case in this way that static friction gradually increases whenever the applied force increases, and whenever the static friction reaches a certain maximum value, whenever the static friction reaches a particular maximum value at one particular force, the body ready to slide but not start sliding. The body ready to slide. So whenever applied force gradually increases, then frictional force also, the static friction also gradually increases, and at one particular applied force, the static friction becomes maximum. Okay, static friction becomes maximum. At that time, if you further increase the applied force on the body by increasing the load attached here, then the body starts sliding. So whenever the body just start ready to slide or just start sliding, at the time the static friction between the two bodies in contact becomes maximum, which is called the limiting friction FL. Limiting friction FL. That limiting friction FL means limiting friction. Okay, limiting friction. So here this maximum value of static friction is called the limiting friction. Maximum value of static friction, Fs maximum. Up to O to A, Fs is equal to applied force only. But whenever applied force reaches the maximum value before the body starts sliding, at that time static friction also reaches maximum, which is called limiting friction. Okay, then whenever the limiting friction reaches, at that time if you further increase the force acts on the body in forward direction, then the body starts sliding. Whenever the body starts sliding, in such case, immediately the friction reduces. Immediately the friction reduces here. When the friction reduces. So whenever the body is in motion over the surface of the other, then the friction exists between the two bodies in contact is called the kinetic friction, Fk. Kinetic friction, Fk. After that, if you further increase the load, then the velocity of that body goes on increase, but there is no change in the kinetic friction between the two bodies. That's why the kinetic friction reaches a constant value. Even you increase the force acts on the body. So in this way, the friction between the two bodies in contact changes with applied force according to the graph like this. Up to this value, the static friction increases and reaches a maximum value with applied force. Okay, up to this value, when you increase the applied force, the static friction also increases and reaches the maximum value. Okay, for one particular force. When static friction reaches the maximum value, that is called limiting friction. At that time, the body tends to slide but not slides. The body tends to slide. That means it is ready to slide over the surface of the other body, but does not slide. At that time, the static friction becomes maximum, which is called limiting friction. After that, if you further increase the force acts on the body in forward direction by increasing the load, then the body starts sliding. Whenever the body starts sliding, at that time, immediately the friction reduces to a certain value, and after that, even if you further increase the force, no change in the friction. So in that case, the friction that exists between the two bodies in contact, when one body is in motion over the surface of the other, that is called the kinetic friction. Already you know, it is difficult to start the motion of the body on the surface of the other, but once the body starts their motion, it is easy to push, isn't it? That means once the body starts their motion, kinetic friction exists between them. That's why we can easily push them. In case suppose the engine of the bus is stopped, by means of the button or switch, it is not the engine will not start. Okay, now what happens? What we do generally, the passengers pushes the bus now, but at initial, whenever the bus is at rest, at that time just it is difficult to push them. It is difficult to push them because it is at rest initially. So whenever the body is at rest, it is difficult to push. Once the bus starts motion, once the bus just starts their motion, it is easy to move, because just before starts sliding, just before start sliding, the friction exists will be maximum. Once starts motion, kind of friction exists there, then it is easy to move the block over the surface of the other. Okay, here now we say this limiting friction. Limiting friction means the maximum static friction exists between the two bodies in contact when the body tends to slide or ready to slide over the surface of the other is called limiting friction. That limiting friction is directly proportional to the normal reaction acts on the body. Limiting friction is directly proportional to normal reaction acts on the body. On the horizontal surface, when the block is kept, what is the normal reaction means? That is equal to mg only, no? So that is directly proportional to normal reaction. Or limiting friction is equal to some proportionality constant mu s into normal reaction. This proportionality constant mu s is called the coefficient of static friction. Coefficient of static friction. Coefficient of static friction. Coefficient of static friction. Okay, so coefficient of static friction is equal to FL by normal reaction. That means mu s is equal to FL by N. No? Coefficient of static friction is the ratio between the limiting friction to normal reaction. So the ratio between the limiting friction to normal reaction is called coefficient of static friction. This coefficient of static friction is also not having any unit and dimension formula because it is also the ratio. Okay, that's why it has no unit and no dimension formula. Here, limiting friction is the fixed for the given two bodies in contact. Limiting friction is fixed for the given two bodies in contact. But static friction is not constant. It depends on the applied force. It does not depend on the nature of bodies in contact, etc. The static friction is equal to applied force. That means static friction is not constant. Suppose if we do not apply any force on the block, which is kept along the horizontal direction, is there any motion in the block? Suppose on the horizontal surface, one block is kept. On the horizontal surface, one block is kept. We do not, here we are not pulling this block in this direction by applying force. That means no external force is applied on the block along horizontal direction. Will the block slides? No. At least is there any tendency to start sliding? No. In that case, as no external force acts on the body, because static friction is equal to external force applied. As no external force is applied, static friction is also zero. Suppose here suppose one block is kept on the inclined surface, rough inclined surface. One block is kept on the rough inclined surface. By external agency or by us, we are not applying any force on the block to slide down. We are not pulling the block in downwards direction. That means this block is at rest over the surface of the inclined plane, rough inclined plane. The block does not slide. Okay. In this case, what is the static friction? In this case, what is the static friction? Anybody else respond? Very good, Pawan. Not zero, mg sin theta, because here you see, even we do not apply any force on the block, at the time, the weight of the block mg acts downwards direction. No? Their components you take, one component parallel to inclined surface, one is perpendicular to inclined surface. If it is theta, this is equal to theta. So this component is mg cos theta, this component is mg sin theta. Here, even we do not pull the block in downwards direction, the weight component mg sin theta pulls the block in downwards direction. No? Even then it does not slide means here velocity is zero. Even then it does not slide means definitely opposite to this force, to prevent the sliding, some force acts. As the friction exists between the two bodies in contact when one body is at rest over the surface of the other, that is called static friction. That's why in this case, static friction is equal to mg sin theta. Static friction is equal to mg sin theta. Here suppose one block is kept on the rough horizontal surface like this. Velocity is zero. No external force is applied. In this case, external force applied is equal to zero. Then what is the static friction? Static friction here is equal to how much? Along horizontal direction, no force is applied. So the block does not slide. The block is at rest. In that case, static friction is equal to applied force. As applied force is zero, static friction is also zero. Next, on the rough horizontal surface, a block is kept. Okay, it is pulled with a force F. Still, it does not slide. That means small force is applied to pull. No motion in the block. In that case, Static friction acts no doubt opposite direction. So in this case, what is the static friction? In this case, what is the static friction? That is equal to F itself. Very good. That is F. I think you could understand. Static friction depends on the applied force. That means static friction is the self-adjusting friction. Static friction is the self-adjusting friction. Okay. So here, static friction is the, from this it is clear that static friction is self-adjusting friction. Self-adjusting friction. It depends on the external force. It depends on external force. Applied force depends on applied force. Here it is the applied force. That's why F is equal to F. Here applied force means weight component only acts as the applied force. That's why F is equal to mg sin theta. Here no force acts on them along horizontal direction. So static friction is 0. So in this way, static friction depends on the applied force. That's why it is called as the self-adjusting friction. But limiting friction is not applied force. Limiting friction is not self-adjusting friction. It depends on the nature of the two bodies in contact. It depends on the nature of the two bodies in contact, but not on the applied force. That's why limiting friction depends on the nature of two bodies in contact only. Okay. This limiting friction is directly proportional to normal action, or limiting friction is equal to mu s into normal action. Of course, mu s is equal to FL by N. Okay. Now, suppose when applied force is greater than, applied force is equal to limiting friction. Then when applied force is equal to limiting friction, you see, if applied force is less than limiting friction, you listen carefully. If applied force is less than limiting friction, will the body slides or not? Yeah, body is at rest, but applied force is there, but body does not slide. That's why what is the type of friction exists here? What is the type of friction exists here? Static. That's why if F is less than FL, then Fs is equal to F. That means static friction is equal to F. If applied force is equal to limiting friction, then what happens? If applied force is equal to limiting friction, still the body is at rest only. When applied force is equal to limiting friction, then the body tends to slide, but not slides. Tends to slide means ready to slide. Vikyat. Okay, very good. So tends to slide. Then body tends to slide. In that case, applied for limiting friction is equal to applied force. Then the body tends to slide or ready to move. Tends to slide means ready to move. If applied force greater than FL, then the body slides. When the body slides, once the body starts their motion or starts sliding over the surface of the body, then the frictional force, the limiting friction immediately decreases to another value, which is called the kinetic friction. So whenever the body starts sliding, at that time the limiting friction reduces to kinetic friction. After that, even the velocity of the body goes on increase, then kinetic friction does not change up to the velocities which are very much less than the velocity of light. Even velocity increase, the kinetic friction does not change. Okay. But here, so if applied force greater than limiting friction, then the body slides. Okay, next sliding, kinetic friction. Second one, kinetic friction. Fk. When the friction force that exists between the two bodies in contact, when one body slides over the surface of the other, then the friction is called the kinetic friction. This kinetic friction Fk is directly proportional to normal reaction, or kinetic friction Fk is equal to some mu k, proportionality constant mu k into normal reaction. That mu k is called coefficient of kinetic friction. Mu k is called coefficient of kinetic friction. Coefficient of kinetic friction. It is also called as the sliding friction also. Kinetic friction is also called as the sliding friction. So here it is called coefficient of kinetic friction. How we can define the coefficient of kinetic friction? Mu k is equal to Fk by normal reaction. Okay. On the horizontal surface, normal reaction is equal to mg. On the inclined surface, normal reaction is equal to mg cos theta. We know. Okay. Now, how we can define this coefficient of kinetic friction? The ratio between the kinetic friction to the normal reaction is called the coefficient of kinetic friction. Of course, it is also the ratio. That's why it has no unit and no dimensional formula. No unit and no dimensional formula. Okay. Here, kinetic friction does not depend on velocity of the body. Kinetic friction does not depend on velocity of body. Kinetic friction does not depend on the velocity of the body. Whenever velocity of the body is by far less than velocity of light. Velocity of light. Okay. So kinetic friction does not depend on the velocity of the body, provided velocity of the body by far less than velocity of light. Because if any body travel with a velocity comparable with velocity of light, such particle is called relativistic particle like electron, etc. Their mass increases with increase of speed. Whenever that speed is comparable with velocity of light, in such cases, mass of the particle is not constant. That's why in such case, as the mass of the particle is not constant, normal action is not constant. If it varies, kinetic friction also varies. Okay, but we in our syllabus here our concept is restricted to the bodies whose velocities are very much less than velocity of light. Okay, so here this is the kinetic friction. Next, third one, when one body rolls over the surface of the other body, then the friction exists between the two bodies in contact is called the rolling friction. That is represented with Fr. So here, when one body rolls over the surface of the other body like this, when one body rolling over the surface of the other body, it travels like this in forward direction. Here, because of deformation of the bodies in contact, the rolling friction exists between the two bodies in contact. Such rolling friction is directly proportional to normal action here also. Because the weight of the body acts vertically downwards direction, normal action acts in upward direction. So this rolling friction is directly proportional to normal action. If normal action is more means deformation is more, then only normal action will be more. If weight of the body is more, then it pushes the ground with more force. So more deformation is there. When deformation is more, normal action is also more. If it is more, rolling friction is more. Okay, so rolling friction is directly proportional to normal action, or rolling friction is equal to some proportionality constant mu r into normal action. That proportionality constant mu r is called coefficient of rolling friction. Mu r is called coefficient of rolling friction. Coefficient of rolling friction. Coefficient of rolling friction. Here, you see, limiting friction, it does not depend on the area of contact, because this limiting friction or kinetic friction is because of interlocking of the irregularities. Because of interlocking of the irregularities. In this case, here you see in case of upper body, it is the upper body, say. Okay, then lower body is this one. Lower body is this one, like this. Okay, in this case, the effective area of contact is here only, no? You see, this this elevation, this peak point is in contact with the body here. This peak point is in contact. This peak point is in contact. This peak point is in contact here at this point. That means the surface area of contact between the two bodies is very less. Only at the peaks it is in contact with the body. That's why effective area of contact in case of kinetic friction or limiting friction is very less. How this kinetic friction and limiting friction exist means because of interlocking of irregularities only that kinetic friction or limiting friction exists. But in this case, effective area of contact is negligible when compared with the area of the surface area of the body is in contact. Surface area of the body. Okay, that's why here this limiting friction and kinetic friction does not depend on the area of contact. Limiting friction and here limiting friction and kinetic friction does not depend on area of contact. Does not depends on area of contact, because effective area of contact is very less. Does not depends on the area of contact. It is very, very important point. Does not depends on area of contact, but the rolling friction depends on the area of contact. Rolling friction depends on area of contact. Rolling friction depends on area of contact. Here, in case of rolling friction, this is very, very important point. Rolling friction is that depends on the area of contact. Okay, among these frictions, which type of friction is less? Here, with common experience, which type of friction is more, which type of friction is less? So far, we have discussed three types of frictions. Okay, which friction is more, which friction is less? Now, you tell me the relation among them. No doubt, with our common experience also, we can say limiting friction greater than kinetic friction, that greater than rolling friction, because it is easy to roll the body than slide. No, static friction may be zero also, not static friction. Limiting friction is very high. Okay, so here limiting friction greater than kinetic friction greater than rolling friction. As friction, here you see coefficient of friction is equal to F by N. No? Suppose we have taken the same body, this body that can be rotated. Okay, suppose it is sliding. In that case, kinetic friction is there. It is ready to slide. Limiting friction is there. Whenever it rolls, rolling friction is there. That means in all cases, whenever the same body is used, normal action is same. But based on the type of nature of motion, friction exists. Okay, here already as FL is more, if it is FL, then mu s is more, no? So mu s is greater. That is, as Fk is more, then mu k is greater. That is greater than coefficient of rolling friction. So this is the order of the different types of frictions. Next, note point here. First one, the coefficient of any type of friction. Coefficient of any type of friction is in general, mu less than 1. Coefficient of friction in general less than 1. Okay, because in general the friction is always less than the normal reaction in general. So in such case mu is less than 1. Okay, in general mu less than 1. But in case of heavily polished surfaces in contact, in case of heavily polished surfaces in contact, already I said, in case of heavily polished surfaces in contact, the effective area of contact is more. Effective area of contact is more. Hence, friction becomes greater than normal reaction. Whenever friction becomes greater than normal reaction, that means the friction becomes because of adhesive forces. Here, whenever the effective area of contact is more, then the adhesive forces will be more. Adhesive forces will be more. That opposes the motion. Therefore, in such case, the frictional force is greater than normal reaction. Therefore, whenever F greater than N, in such case, mu greater than 1. So, in case of heavily polished surfaces, in contact, the effective area of contact is more, so that adhesive forces are more. That opposes the motion of the body. Hence, friction is more compared with normal reaction. In such case, as F is greater than N means this is greater than 1. So mu greater than 1. No? That's why mu is greater than 1. in case of heavily polished surfaces in contact. Okay, second one. Suppose one block is kept over the surface of the other. Here, the mass of the block is say m. Then weight of the body acts vertically downwards direction. Normal action acts in this direction. Okay, applied force F is like this. Okay, when applied force is less than limiting friction, will the body slide? When applied force less than limiting friction, will the body slide here? No. That's why body does not slide. In this case, Fs, that means static friction, is equal to applied force. Next, if applied force is equal to Fl, the body tends to slide. In this case, Fs is equal to maximum static friction exists, which is called limiting friction, that is equal to applied force. Okay, if applied force greater than Fl, body starts sliding. Applied force is greater than limiting friction, body starts sliding. In that case, you see, when applied force is greater than limiting friction, then the body starts sliding. When the body starts sliding, what is the type of friction exists between the two bodies in contact? Body starts sliding or motion. In such case, what is the type of friction exists between them? Kinetic friction. That's why that kinetic friction acts in opposite direction. No? Kinetic friction acts in opposite direction. No? So now, along the direction of motion, what is the net force acts on the block? What is the net force acts on the block? Come on, interact immediately, respond immediately. Whenever applied force greater than this limiting friction, the body starts sliding. Whenever the body starts sliding, kinetic friction is there. So along the direction of motion of the block, what is the net force? Means applied force minus frictional force. That is the net force acts on the block. That net force is equal to mass into acceleration. Mass of the block into acceleration of the block. Okay, therefore, acceleration of the block in this case, A is equal to F minus Fk by mass of the body. This is the acceleration of the body. When you know the acceleration of the body, then initial velocity is 0. After t seconds, what is the velocity of the body? Means v is equal to u plus at. V is equal to u plus at. U 0. A means F minus Fk by m. After t seconds, what is the velocity? Ordinary equations of motion we can use here. Okay. Next. Third one, very, very important concept. Third one. You see, here it is one body having mass m. So weight mg acts downwards direction. Normal action acts in upward direction. Okay, here, what is the minimum force required to just start the sliding of the body? What is the minimum force with which it is to be pulled in horizontal direction just to start sliding on the surface? Fk or Fk is less than Fl, no? Kinetic friction is less than limiting friction. That means if you apply the force, if you apply the force on the body, which is less than the kinetic friction, will the body start sliding? No. When you apply the force on a body which is less than the limiting friction, the body does not slide. In such case, static friction exists, which is equal to applied force. But just to start sliding, what is the minimum force to be applied on the body? Means that is equal to limiting friction. So initially, the applied force is equal to limiting friction. When you apply the force on a body equal to limiting friction, just the body starts sliding. When applied force is equal to limiting friction, body just starts sliding. Very, very important point. Once in mains, it was this point was asked. Body starts sliding. Okay. Whenever the body starts sliding, what is the type of friction exists here now? whenever the body starts sliding, what is the type of friction exists? Kinetic friction. Even the body starts sliding, the same force is continued. Even the body starts sliding, same force is continued. Here you see, at first, applied force is equal to limiting friction. Okay. At first, applied force is equal to limiting friction. Then the body starts sliding as F is equal to FL. Then FL means mu s into normal reaction. Here in this case, normal reaction is equal to mg only, no? Okay, therefore, normal reaction is equal to mg, mu s into mg. Okay. Even after starts sliding, same force is continued. Even start sliding, same force is continued. F is equal to FL, force is continued. Even starts motion. Then in such case, kinetic friction exists here. Then what is the net force acts on the block here? Net force acts on the block is equal to applied force minus kinetic friction. That is equal to M into A. But what is F? F means FL, no? FL minus FK is equal to M into A. What is FL? FL means mu s into normal reaction minus Fk means mu k into normal reaction is equal to M into A. You take mg common here. Mg of mu s minus mu k is equal to M into A. Mm cancel. So acceleration. In this case, here the force applied on the body just to start sliding, and even after start sliding, if the same force is continued, what is the acceleration of the body? So acceleration of body A is equal to mu s minus mu k into z. It is the formula for acceleration of the body in this case. It is the formula for acceleration of the body in this case. Okay. Here, okay, with this topic, one more point is there actually. Okay, with this topic, I will stop because time is 8:41. Okay, right. If today, okay, no class is there in the evening. Okay, have a nice day. Bye, Nana.